America, we have a major issue.
Major issue.
The Syria thing is way worse than anyone thought. Where do I start? So basically Friday, the FDA sent out a massive warning to everyone about this Syria outbreak. And they found it at Walmart and Aldi and Kroger. So now all 3 stores are recalling vegetables and herbs.
Y'all be careful.
Guacamole and salsa. This is bad, guys.
Real bad.
Salad mixes. You've got different herbs. You guys, this is all over the place. I know a lot's going on in the world right now, but be careful what you're buying. Basically,
it ain't just
Kroger came out and
seafood.
said that if you had bought any of those products,
it's
the
vegetables,
guacamole, any of the produce, throw
dairy.
it away.
You might want to check what's in your fridge tonight. A major produce company is recalling more than 140 vegetable products sold at supermarkets across the United States, including the Bay Area, over listeria concerns. And we're talking broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, Brussels sprouts, and much more from Fresh.
Not shopping food there.
All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, starting at verse 5, and it says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune or lay in snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Verse 6, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. Shalom to you brothers out there that are laboring, enduring the elements, making your body a living sacrifice, trying to sow the elect, making your call and election sure, seeking out your own salvation, as well as you sisters that are learning, listening, applying, being obedient to your husbands. Shalom, shalom. Again, it's the brother Zachariah coming back to you with another lesson, and Lord willing, this be edifying. All right, here on this Saturday morning. All right, you know, I got up a little early this morning. Couldn't sleep too much last night, you know, but I got enough rest. I got what was needed, you know. I don't need to do no extra. And I'm glad I got up bright and early, because I'm like, you know, I want to go ahead and come out and get right to it, you know, because there's a lot of lessons that I want to get into. I don't know if I'm going to get them all today, but at least, you know, tackle a couple of them before my highways. And then, you know, I got some things I got to do later tonight. You know, before the storms hit. We got some kind of storm coming through. I don't know if it's going to be bad or not. I think it's supposed to come very late, so I don't know. We'll see. This you can never trust Esau when it comes to the weather. All right. But anyways, I started off with Psalms, the 64th chapter, the 5th and the 6th verse. Okay, because what is the problem with this food? Why is it that when we go to the grocery store and we're purchasing food, and it has all these weird ingredients in there, you know, all these different things, and it's harmful stuff unto your body. Okay, like why is this put in there, you know? And then people just blindly continue to buy the stuff, despite knowing that it's got harmful chemicals in it. All right, this is this is Babylon the Great. A lot of the things, the foods here, the ingredients in the food here, it could be the same brand, the same exact brand and everything, but over in like maybe Canada or UK or whatever, it has half of those ingredients. The rest of it, you know, it's not even in there. All right, but here you have a big list, and they always say that's a red flag when you look at something and it looks like you got about 30 to 40 ingredients in it. Something's up, you know. Something is up. All right. But yes, especially this part right here, they encourage themselves in an evil manner. Who is this? This is Esau Edom. He's in rulership. Okay. So him putting these things into this food, you know, he's purposely doing this because, you know, as the 6th verse talks about, he accomplished a diligent search. What is that? That search, that research. Okay. They got research facilities. They research stuff, and they do stuff to the food. All right. That can damage your body, all right? But again, it says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune or lay in snares privily. They say, who shall see them, all right? So, you know, it's always about being mindful about what you eat. You don't just order stuff. Like me, I cut out eating fast food, period. I don't eat fast food at all because of all the chemicals and stuff that's put in that food. you know, and it does more harm to your body. You know, people are starting to wonder, like, why is I feeling like this or feeling like that? You have no energy, or you're always sick all the time. Well, it's a lot of it is to do with the stuff you're putting in your body. All right. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 29. And it says, and Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. All right. To you, it shall be for meat. All right. So, but the problem nowadays is that fruits, you know, a lot of the recalls is your fruits, your vegetables. You know, these are natural things upon the earth. All right. That are good for your body. And this man has done so much to that, you know, to the fruits and vegetables that people don't want to eat this stuff because it's all pumped with chemicals. And when you eating that stuff gets digestive into your body. So this is why we got to be mindful about what we eat, what we buy, and everything. And especially like when it comes to these fruits, if they don't have seeds in them, because a lot of times you're going to go in there and you find out that these fruits that you cut open and there's not a single seed in it. I bought some apples and I thought something was kind of odd about them. So I cut the apple open and I didn't see a single seed in it. And that was a red flag to me, man. That means this stuff was looked like it was put together, grown in a lab, man. And that's what Esau Edom does. That's that diligent search, man. All right. But again, it says, and Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat, you know, as in food. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm over here on Instagram and I'm on this page, Sexy Joked, with this was one of the articles I had. And I was thinking about doing it into my highways, but I had a couple clips in articles and things, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do one of these food lessons, going into the food recalls and things like that, because it's overdue. I haven't done one of these in a while. And matter of fact, in a lot of my highways, I haven't done a lot of food recalls. But that's the thing that I need to tap back into, you know, because just about every week there's food recalls. Now, it kind of died down a little bit, but there's been a few more that have been surfacing up. And I had a few articles. So I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and just do a whole lesson going into it. But not just the food that is being contaminated out here, but you also got these beverages, okay? Like this, for an example, which, you know, none of us should be drinking any type of Coke, man. If anything, a lot of these sodas, all right? Now, I think they have some brands like, and not these, I'm talking about the popular brands, but they got like some like actual soda, you know, without all those chemicals in it, you know, that's harmful to your body. But you will rarely find them in your regular grocery stores. But it says Coke is more dangerous than alcohol. All right. Chinese scientist warns. All right. And let's just pull this up a little bit. It says researchers found that soda can damage the liver faster than booze. That's bad, man. And there's people that drink a lot of it. All right. I had there was a neighbor out here that could not get around much. So he would have like one of the other neighbors. He would do errands for him. And he said he wanted him to go get him, like 8 2 liters at a time. And he was like, damn. He said, I can understand maybe 2 liters, but 8 of them? He said, that's crazy, you know, which, hey, drinking any of it is crazy because, like I said, it's not good for you. But he was wanting 8 of them at a time. Make a long story short, this guy, man, was found, in his apartment, which, you know, he don't no longer live here, but he was found in his apartment where he was on the ground. He could not move at all. Like he tried to stand and he fell. And I'm not sure if he's a diabetic or something, but he hasn't been taking care of himself. But a lot of the stuff that he was eating, you know, when you have a poor diet, you know, it'll come back and haunt you. You're not properly taking care of yourself. You're not eating right. Well, he was on the floor for about 4 days or so, you know, and some people was already noticing, saying like he didn't look right, you know, in the face. So he fell. And, you know, if it wasn't for one of the neighbors hearing the noise, you know, he actually was able to break in and get to him, you know, and he done used it on himself, piss all over the floor, you know, not trying to be graphic or anything, but, you know, this is what happened. But that can happen when you have a poor diet too. All right. So it says just 250, milliliters. I'm guessing that's what that is a day. It says less than a single can increase the risk of a deadly liver disease by 60%. It says we're talking about fatty liver disease, okay, where the liver fills with fat and stops functioning properly, potentially leading to death. Damn. So, man, hey, you keep drinking this stuff if you want to. All right, it says both diet and sugary sodas are equally risky. Time to switch to water, which, hey, the water out here is defiled. You know, I had a clip, which I can't find it now, but there was one where this guy was talking about the water and saying that most of these brands at the store are no good. And that's true. All right, there was this one brand I would get, and I thought it was okay at first, but then, man, I got I don't know if it was a bad batch or whatnot, but every time I would drink one of the bottled waters, man, it make you feel like you want to gag. And it was like, damn, you know, and that my body was rejecting it. So it made me think like, hey, could that be like poison or something? It could be like they done tainted this water, you know, and you have to be very, very careful with the type of waters you buy, you know. But hey, we're in the land of our captivity. This place is hell. All right. But you definitely don't want to be drinking no Cokes as well. Salaki for that. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 4 and verse 13. I'm going to read it in the NIV. All right. And it says, all right, the Lord Yahweh said in this way, the people of Israel, all right, which are the Israelites, okay, will eat defiled food among the nations where I would drive them. We've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Therefore, we are eating defiled foods amongst these nations, you know. But we have to try to like be very, very careful, especially when you come into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You'll begin to read food labels and stuff like that, you know, and it becomes a hassle sometimes, you know, but don't be so in a hurry when you go to the grocery store, just, you know, filling up your cart, you know, look at what you're buying and read the labels, you know, and then they add so much stuff to the food to make it addictive, but it make it taste good, but it's you know, a lot of poison in it. All right. But again, it says the Lord Yahweh said in this way, the people of Israel will eat the foul food among the nations where I would drive them. All right. Here's a article here, and this is from Simply Recipes. You know, we're going to go into a few recalls, and it says 2 food recalls you need to know about this week. All right. And you know, one of them is this right here, the eggs. And then the other one, I think it was like Uncle Ben's rice or something, which I'm just going to save y'all the time. But I want to go into the eggs a little bit. All right. And it says 2 food recalls you need to know about this week. All right. Let's go down here. It says check your fridge and pantry. Always check your food. And just because something has an expiration date, don't go off that always. Check your stuff. There have been times where I have like this creamer where it only has 2 ingredients in it. So it's like, this is, you know, good stuff, but you know, you still need to be mindful of that. And I was using a little bit of that creamer and it was starting to come out all lumpy. So it was obviously bad, but it got bad before the expiration date. So this is something that you always need to keep in mind. All right. But it says if you want dinner on the table fast, pre-cooked rice and eggs are go-to ingredients. This week, both kitchen staples are under scrutiny. All right. It says 1 for contamination with foreign matter. It says 1 because of a food-borne pathogen. All right. Here's why you should take a closer look at the packaging of your fresh eggs and ready-to-eat rice. All right. But right down here, it says over 6 million eggs recalled for salmonella risk. Okay. Sometimes you get these eggs and you eat them, and next thing you know, you're feeling all sick, you know. A recall in the eggs, you know. And then just because it's a recall don't mean that they literally took it off the shelf. It'll still be on the shelf. There was a recall. I did a lesson where there was a recall on a certain brand of food. All right. This was nationwide. You know, the next day I went to the store, you know, and I'm doing my grocery shopping. I'm keeping it in mind about these food recalls. That stuff was still in there, stocked in the fridges, you know, at the grocery store. And I was like, well, I'll be, you know, I'm not sure. I think I might have took a picture of it and posted it on my stories and Instagram. But again, it says over 6 million eggs recalled for salmonella risk. It says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, announced a recall of over 6 million eggs from Black Sheep Egg Company due to salmonella contamination. In September, an inspection revealed that 40 environmental samples from Black Sheep Egg Processing Facility tested positive for salmonella. Then on October 14th, the FDA classified this as Class 1. It says, meaning there is reasonable probability that eating the eggs could lead to a serious adverse health consequences or death. Man, look, Coke can kill you. Man, not eating eggs can kill you. Hey, this place is as death, man. All right, and then, you know, I go to this site a lot, Newsweek, and I just go to their food recall section. All right, so we're going to scroll down here and just kind of look at a few recalls, you know, because, you know, some of these things might be things that you buy a lot at the grocery store. So we got this one right here where it says food recall sparks highest consumer risk warning. All right, and obviously you can see that those are strawberries. All right, so there's a strawberry recall. All right, and then look, there's the eggs, which we just talked about. That it says millions of eggs. Okay, the rice bowl recall in 9 states. Okay, look, there's the Ben's original rice sparks nationwide, which that's why I told you that was talking about that also in that article. All right, look, fruit cocktail recall in 27 states as FDA issue risk warnings. Okay, smoked salmon recall over threat to life warning gets highest risk alert. Okay, dog food recall. See, even the animals, you know, travail in pain. You know, toast recall. All right, damn. Okay, Amazon recall. All right, they got multiple products in recall. Look, pasta salad recall. Okay, and this is it says map shows new warning in 24 states. Look, you got a mushroom recall. All right, kimchi recall. Nationwide Aldi spring roll recall. All right, which a lot of their food, you know, they had that clip where the woman went through Aldi's and she was in there in Aldi's and she was showing most of the food in that store, and it all said contains bioengineered ingredients. You know, you see that a lot. Even when you go to like your Dollar Generals and stuff like that, you'll see it that label on the food. So it's like, damn, like what can we eat? You know, for real. Okay. Popular spice recall over lead levels as millions warned. Okay, people like that. That's, you know, that spice, them drinks. All right. What is it? A pumpkin spice or something like that. All right, and then look at this, and the list just goes on. Look, Publix food recall. All right, Walmart nationwide recall. You know, FDA issues highest risk warning for tuna recalled in 37 states. Hello Fresh meals recalled. All right, and it just goes on and on and on. You know, look, chicken corn dog recall. So see, over wood. All right. So it just goes on and on, all right, y'all. But just showing you a bunch of these food recalls. And you can come on here on your own time, pull this up, go on Newsweek and just go into their food recalls and you can see that. And there's many other sites as well. All right, but for the sake of time, we're going to keep it moving. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 1:18. It says, for in much wisdom is much grief. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. And the reason I'm bringing this precept out is, like I was saying, we begin to, when you come into this truth, you're getting wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Therefore, you start reading labels now. Now you're looking at the food and you're going to come to the realization like, damn, I can't eat any of this shit in here, man. Like you literally, when you leave out the grocery store, you're going to leave out with only a handful of things, if that. All right. I remember when I was coming into the truth and I was watching this one guy, even though like now that, you know, you come into the, you know, the fullness of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the truth, you know, that guy, he was kind of going off on some things. But one thing he did say was he was talking about the grocery store. He said, when you come into the realization, the understanding of, this food and this chemicals and things that are put in it and what they are, and you've done your research. He says, when you go into the store and you start looking at food labels instead of just grabbing things like we used to do, he says, man, you're only going to leave out with a handful of things. That's what he said. And he was right about that, and because I went in there and I'm like, damn, what can you eat? Because even when I was waking up to the truth, I was still grabbing certain things. I didn't know about the food labels. But then once you learn, now you're like, man, I can't eat this stuff no more. So that also can bring some grief on you. And sorrow, it's like, damn, man, I went to the grocery store, I was just trying to get some food, and this is all I could come up with, I can get. Some people say grow your own food, but even with that, that's a whole nother thing. This damn devil is spraying the sky, so all that stuff is raining down. Them chemicals that are up in the sky, when it rains down, that stuff is raining and watering the soil that you have your stuff in. So all that food that you're thinking, oh, it's going to be okay because you're growing it, well, guess what? It's going to be tainted. All right. So again, it says, for in much wisdom is much grief. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. All right. This is a report right here, and because like I was telling you earlier about how, like, over in the like UK, Canada, you compare the same, it'd be the same brand and everything, but you'll notice that there's more ingredients in the food here in Babylon the Great, aka America, than it is in these other countries. All right, which that is what's leading into what they call foodborne illnesses. All right, which I was putting foodborne illnesses are on the rise here in America. It says, yes, a 2024 report noted a 25% rise in confirmed foodborne illnesses in the U.S., with hospitalizations and deaths more than doubling. See that? While the overall number of cases is estimated to be much higher, factors contributing to this increase include contamination from sources like animal and environmental contact before final preparation, the industrialization of food production, and potentially a decrease in viral outbreaks due to C-19 measures, leading to an increase in bacterial cases, according to reports from sources like CIDRAP. All right. It says the CDC and Emerging Pathogens Institute. Okay. But you see that there's an increase, all right, in this place. I wonder why, Yeah, because a lot of Israel is here. All right. Now, we are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But, however, a lot of our people are here in Babylon the Great, of both kingdoms, all right, northern and southern kingdom. Okay, but despite those things, the Heavenly Father has created medicines. All right, this is Sirach 38 in verse 4. It says, the Lord Yahweh have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise, there's that wisdom, all right, will not abhor them. Okay, so they are things that you can eat, and they'll take care of your body, eating right, doing right. Okay, and trying to maintain yourself, So with that, all right, I want to go here to this right here from Health, and it says 7 benefits of soursop. All right, it says plus facts and nutrition. Okay.
Did you know that soursop proves the existence of God? Have you ever wondered why soursop has the exact same shape and structure of cancer cells? It's because soursop and its leaves is known for its anti-cancer effects. When you look into it, it has compounds that literally block the growth of cancer cells, suppresses tumors, reduces inflammation, and most of all, triggers programmed cancer cell death in your body.
All right, it says the soursop plant, scientifically known as Annona muricata, if I'm saying that right, it says belongs to the custard apple, all right, family. It says the fruit provides antioxidants, fiber, and vitamin C, which may have benefits for blood sugar, inflammation, and digestion, which it goes into that as it goes into the 7. All right. And it says human research on soursop is limited, so its exact benefits are not confirmed. So see, they'll go into that. All right. But look, it says the number 1 says has been shown to control blood sugar. It says help reduce inflammation. All right. May have antibacterial properties. Okay. May lower blood pressure. It says, and look at this one right here. It says might kill cancer cells. All right. You saw the clip that I put in there. All right. Where, the guy was talking about the benefits of soursop. All right. Which they have other things I think that could. But see, when you start talking about these things a lot, Esau don't like that because he controls all. He benefits off you, not knowing and then also being sick all the time. Okay. So yeah, it says it might kill cancer cells. It says soursop is concentrated in acetogenins. All right. If I'm saying that word right, which some evidence suggests have stronger anti-cancer effects. This fruit is also rich in alkaloids, all right, and flavonoids, all right, both of which may have anti-cancer and antioxidant properties. Okay, it says one review noted that animal and in vitro studies have shown that soursop extract help target cancer cells. More human research is needed to fully understand how soursop can affect cancer treatment. All right, and they say more study. You know, they know, but see, the thing about it, they try to play dumb and play stupid. You know, and there's a lot more cancer is like on the rise right now. You know, I think I might have heard another brother was talking about it, you know, in one of his lessons, and I believe it. It's on the rise. You know, like I said, we got a co-worker. He just got hit with it, you know, but he doesn't take care of his diet and what he eats. All right. All right. Well, speaking of that, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 30. In verse 25, it says, a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. So you see somebody, you know, that has a cheerful and good heart, all right, will have care of his meat and diet. You're not just going to eat anything and just say, food is food, you know, which this guy that got cancer, that's his mindset. I've heard him say that because there are things I wouldn't eat. And he was like, why you ain't going to eat that? It's food. Food is food, you know, and I'm like, man, there's things you can eat and there's things you shouldn't be eating. All right. Some things are considered an abomination. And that just didn't click in his head. This guy sits there and pretends like he's reading the Bible. He's learning the Bible. Meanwhile, you know, you don't know about these abominable foods. You know, you're just saying food is food. So that shows you that you can read this book and not really get the wisdom and knowledge and understanding in it. All right. So it says a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. All right. You have a list right here. Give it a chance to load up. Okay, it says what shall we eat, and then things that you shouldn't eat. All right, you got clean foods and you got unclean foods. Okay, and you know, just showing you some examples. You know, because another thing is like they was talking about recalls on seafood and stuff. Well, guess what? We're not supposed to eat that. There's been a lot of recalls on swine, a lot of your pork. All right, we're not supposed to be eating that stuff. Which those are things that people they ignorantly eat. All right, because Esau has made it a delicacy in this wicked ass kingdom, man. All right, but you have clean foods and you have unclean foods, and you need to tap into your scriptures, read, understand, you know, what you can eat, what you can't eat. You know, the Heavenly Father has laid it out, you know, and it still stands to this day. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 3, you know, as soon as it loads up. All right, and it says, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. Okay, eating swine, that's an abomination. Eating seafood, that's an abomination. You're not supposed to eat those things. Okay, and then be mindful of this food. Now, of course, yeah, we try our very best to try to eat right, and we could still be consuming something that be defiled. Like I said, you know, the Bible says that we would eat defiled food among these nations. Okay, but at the end of the day, we still got to try to put some effort in. Don't just blindly or ignorantly eat stuff. Like, you know, like you literally look at it, you know that's not no good, but you eating it anyways. Okay, you'll pay for it in the long run. You know, this is a time to really be trying to take care of your body and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get myself together. You know, I'm getting, you know, there's brothers that are motivating me, elders that are motivating me. I'm watching videos, I'm seeing them, you know, they're going out for walks and jogs and things. And I do that as well, a little bit, you know, not maybe as much as they do, but I'm getting into it, you know, and just really, and I'm getting into a lot more fasting. You know, I'll wake up and not really just crave. You know, you don't have to eat 3 meals a day like Esau. And I've been saying this a lot lately, but you don't have to eat 3 meals a day, as he said. They push that vibration. You know, when I go into work in the morning, I got coworkers that come in. They come straight in through the door, and they're stuffing their faces with food. First thing, and I'm like, man, the sun ain't even out yet, and they stuffing their faces with food, drinking Cokes, and eating breakfast sandwiches and all kinds of stuff for early in the morning, you know. And there I am drinking tea, you know, the kind that is good for your body, is good for your digestive system and stuff. You know, that's all I'm doing. I'm just drinking my tea, and I'm looking at them, and they over there just like wolfing down food, man. First thing in the morning. But that's the vibration that Esau Edom pushes, you know, because he's trying, you know, this. Babylon the Great is the most obese place, man, on the earth, man. Okay, people are all out of shape, and that's the way Esau wants it. All right, but Sirach 30 and verse 15, starting at verse 15, it says, health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. All right, Verse 16 says, there is no riches above a sound body and no joy above the joy of the heart. So yeah, it's very important to take care of your body, eat right, do right. You know, you get exercise. It's okay. You know, it's not a sin. You know, I go into the customs of the gymnos and stuff like that, because that's where it comes back from. And it's a dark history. That's the gym is part of the goes back to the heathen. All right. You know, can you work out in the gym? Yeah. Okay. Now, you wouldn't want to work in them gyms back in the day. You know, they was working in the nude. Now, sometimes when you go in there, you might as well say some people are damn near naked, the way they be dressing, you know, and you got women wearing those provocative clothes, and that could be rough on a brother. You know, you going in there and you're trying to work out, and then she going there with that tight stuff on, and you looking, you know, then your mind is all over the place. All right. So, you know, those are things also to be mindful about. But yeah, it says there is no riches above a sound body, all right, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Okay, so with that, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, starting at verse 16, and I'll go ahead and close it out with this. All right, and I pray that this is be an edifying lesson unto you. Okay, but it says, know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh, and that the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you. Okay, it says, if any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy, for the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. So you can defile your body and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people are smokers, you know, heavy drinkers and stuff like that. You know, like as in being a drunkard. Like the Bible doesn't condemn drinking; it says don't be a drunk. All right. Now, if you could just do without it completely, then that's even more power to you. That's a blessing. Okay. But however, you know, it does not condemn drinking for those that try to push that vibration. You know, I know Christianity does that. Meanwhile, they'll drink those Cokes, which they're telling you that, hey, Coke is worse than alcohol. You know, like that stuff is leading to death, but alcohol could too. You can get alcohol poisoning. All right, you overly do it. You know that I've heard of people that have passed from they drunk too much and they were laying on their back. So when they vomited, they ended up. I think they choked on their vomit or drowned in it or something. It was crazy. But, you know, one guy, this happened to a guy, you know, and he lost his life, man. Like 1 second he was here, the next thing you know, he was gone. All right. But it says, if any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy, for the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. Call all Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. And shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And to the next one, shalom.